hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Kings NBA Conference Finals Show. I'm trying to get this out. Conference Finals Show right here, streaming live on YouTube. I am your host, Mean Gene, and I am joined by the one and only, the man that covers the Carolina Panthers for the NFL and the Charlotte Hornets for the NBA, Dustin Pfeiffer. What's up, Dustin?
Mean Gene, what's going on, man? Glad to be back on with you. I know it's, off season of the NFL. We're deep in the NBA, but I'm glad that we can get on here and talk because I think after these first two games, we got two good series setting up to get ready for the NBA Finals.
We do. And you know what, folks? And we apologize. We were supposed to come on a little bit later, but we thought it was a good idea to just go ahead and try to come on and we know that the Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder are playing game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. So we will definitely be watching the second half of that game so we can kind of get on into halftime. Dustin, do you have a live score on that right now?
I do. Currently, the Thunder are up 9 with a few minutes left in the first half, so trying to even the series at 1. So listen, we know people, Gene. They got it on their TV. You got us on your phone or your iPad. You got the best of both worlds.
You have to multitask these days.
Exactly.
Look, the kids are doing it, man. Everybody else is doing it, so you're absolutely right. So, all right, let's go ahead and just reset this. The Western Conference Finals feature the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the San Antonio Spurs, while the Eastern Conference Finals match up with the Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Both series are already underway. And, of course, we had some historic overtimes. This game 1 of the Oklahoma City Thunder Spurs. How about that double overtime, man? That was absolutely amazing. And then, Dustin, we have to get it to last night. We have to talk about game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Knicks and the Cavaliers, man. What did you think about that game last night at Madison Square Garden?
Well, first, I'm going to call out myself here, Gene, before we get into that, because I don't know if people remember, and I don't remember your prediction, so I'll let you kind of bring it back. But we were on here with Denny as we got the playoffs started, and we kind of gave our predictions of who the NBA champions or the finals were going to be. And I have to put a hand up, Gene, that this could be one of the worst predictions I've had on Sports Kings in a while. I had the Denver Nuggets lost in the first round against the Boston Celtics, lost in the first round. So hand up, my prediction for how this was going to go did not go well. I can't remember what yours was. I think what you have, Thunder and Celtics. Is that what you had?
No. Actually, I had Thunder and Knicks. I've been with the Knicks.
So you're still on it. So let me give Gene some credit and let me put my hand up that I was completely off.
Well, look, remember, it's just something about these Knicks, man. I don't know. Look, the Celtics thing, even if the Celtics had gotten past Philadelphia, good Lord, that's just a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
It's just something about these Knicks. It's something about the fact that, Mike Brown inherited a good team that was left to him by Tom Thibodeau. And they did bring in some additional pieces. The Knicks are a little bit deep. Now, Dustin, one of the things that sort of, caught my attention. I am so glad that I take that back. I wanted the Detroit Pistons to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers because I thought that the Knicks would have a better series against Detroit than they would Cleveland. And I think I was proven right last night. Cleveland had that game 1, right? You were up 22 points, right, with under 8 minutes. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't want the Knicks to play the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I don't know, Dustin. I think the Knicks are on fire.
Yeah, I think last night, you don't want to put too much into one game, obviously. You want to give the Cavs credit because they led the majority of that game in Madison Square Garden. But you also look onto the other side of it, and we've been around this a long time, Gene, and you think, man, you had a chance to steal game 1 like that on the road, and you give that back. You don't want to say like one game right off the bat is going to shift the series, but with the way the Knicks are rolling heading into this series, that was your chance to kind of jump on them, and you kind of let them off the hook, and they came back and won that game. So it was not a good look for the Cavaliers. It continues, Gene. I feel like what I'm about to say we probably said for the last decade of doing the Sports Kings, but it continues to not be good playoff James Harden. And I know I said when the Cavs got him, I thought it was a decent pickup, and he's fitting well with them. but I don't know what it is when it comes playoff time, Gene, but this guy just doesn't have it. And he had 15 points on 5 of 16 shooting. If he scores 20 points, or adds a few, he only had 3 assists, 6 turnovers. If he plays just a slightly better game average, they probably take game 1. So I'm not trying to put it all on James Harden. The Cavs as a team blew that game 1. But when you get a guy like that to go alongside of Donovan Mitchell, you got to have him step up in these moments. And he just hasn't shown up for them in these playoffs. And somehow they're still in the Eastern Conference Finals without him producing.
I'm going to put a little bit of that on Kenny Atkinson, because here's the thing. The guy that's behind you in that background, Donovan Mitchell, that's his team, okay?
It is.
You know what you're getting with James Harden. Just like Charles Barkley and those guys said on the NBA Inside, look, man, those guys, James Harden is an old guy, okay? He's turning over the ball at record numbers. And look, you got other guards out there that can come in there and sort of, compliment. I would, if you're expecting 30 points a game from James Harden, that's not going to happen. So Atkinson has to be able to know when to use Schroeder, know when to use some of those other guys to come in there and get it done. It's Donovan Mitchell's team. I'm expecting more from Donovan Mitchell each night, and I'm expecting more from Evan Mobley, and I'm expecting more from Jared Allen. I mean, they have the team. The Cleveland Cavaliers have the team. James Harden is just a bonus, in my opinion.
I think the Evan Mobley thing is a good call out. He was 6 of 16 last night for 15 points, had 14 rebounds, but you need him to be at least a 20-point-a-game scorer to go along with Donovan Mitchell. So I would give you that call out. My thing with James Harden is, you're right, it's Donovan Mitchell's team. I even think it, like you said, it goes maybe Evan Mobley second, then maybe you look at James Harden. But I'm not asking him to score 30, Gene. Be that point guard. We've seen him with the Clippers have these 15 assist games and, getting these people involved. You can't go out there and have 3 assists and 6 turnovers. You can't have double the turnovers. You have the assist. I don't care how old you are. Mm-hmm. You are one of the primary ball handlers on that team. Go out there and create for others. So you need to see more from him. And you're right. Mobley needs to step up. Jared Allen only had 10 points, but I don't look at the points for Jared Allen, just more of the impact on the inside. But Mobley's got to be that guy that scores more than 15 points if they want to have a chance in this series. Because, Gene, we saw these last 2 series. It was a little bit of a struggle with the Atlanta Hawks for the Knicks. We were a little worried, but once they figured it out, they blew them out the water. They turned around. They blew the Sixers out the water. Like, they are on a roll. So you can't give this team multiple chances. And with that blown game last night, you just hope the series can be good, and you hope now the Knicks just don't steamroll them right to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, you got to hope that mentally Cleveland has to rebound quick from this. They can't wait till they get to Cleveland and rebound, because they will already be down 0-2. They have to come back in this second game. And I know Atkinson is the guy. Look, he's won a lot of games. He's been around the league for a long time. He knows. I just want to see the adjustment he's going to make. One of the adjustments I think that the Cleveland Cavaliers is going to have to make is that they have to put the ball more into Donovan Mitchell's hand and less in James Harden's hand. Yeah. Okay, so you have to find a way to not let Harden kill you, because against a team like the Knicks, man, they got guys hard. They got those guys. Those guys are young, and they are greedy. They are all over the ball, and they're going to take care of business. So I can't wait to see what the adjustment is going to be.
If I'm looking at it in this series, and I know this is easier said than done because you just mentioned that they got Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. But, Gene, if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you've got to make somebody else beat you besides Jalen Brunson. I mean, everybody knows he's the engine that drives the Knicks. And, again, that's easier said than done. He is a superstar. And, Gene, this may be a conversation for a different day. But even if they don't win the championship, if Jalen Brunson continues this play last night, 38 points on 15 to 29 shooting, so over 50% from the field on 38 points. If he continues this play and he leads the Knicks to the finals for the first time in forever, like, he is going to be more of a legend in that city than he already is. Like, he's already making a name for himself as a legend in that city. And if you're the Cavs, you got to make somebody beat you. If Karl-Anthony Towns goes for 30 points, fine. If Mikal Bridges goes for 30 points, fine. But I'm not letting Jalen Brunson go out there and just go for 35 to 40 a night. You cannot do it.
Well, look, last night it was Jalen Brunson because McBride didn't do a damn thing. No. I mean, I think McBride had probably more fouls than he had points. So it was
Yep.
a one guard show. Now they do have Clarkson out there. I think that Clarkson is going to probably play a bigger role in this series than people think. The Knicks did, improve their bench, so to speak. OG Anunoby, he comes back. He wasn't that effective, but look, he gets better as the series go on. Karl Anthony Towns, I don't know why they don't really go into him early in games like I would like to see them do. But Dustin, they have an NBA Clutch Player of the Year award, and for the life of me, that's gonna be Bronson every damn time, man. That guy's clutch. I mean, normally I don't like point guards that he doesn't hog the ball, but man, he really tries to get other people involved. And when he doesn't see what he needs to see, he's gonna pull the trigger, and 9 times out of 10, he's gonna make the shot.
It's unbelievable with his size, the spacing he can create to get shots. He's not a big guy, but you're right. He filled up the stat sheet. 6 assists, not a ton, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. Like, he was doing a little bit of everything, but it's just for some reason, in the clutch, he's going to come through. And we talk about the big names. We talk about SGA, who just won an MVP award. We talk about Jokic, like all these guys that come through in the clutch. But you're right. I'm not sure if there's anybody in the league right now with the game on the line that I may want to take the shot more than Jalen Brunson.
I mean, absolutely, man. That guy should just have clutch as his last name on his jersey, man, because he gets it.
And Gene, if you're, and I hate to bring the Mavs fans into this because they're not in this conversation, and I'm sorry, but if you're a Mavs fan, Gene, you got Cooper Flag, yes, so you got that for the future, great, but no Luka. You had Jalen Brunson on that team, you let him go too. Now your coach Jason Kidd has gone like, I know Luka and Jalen Brunson may not have been the best pair together, but if you let Luka go, maybe you keep Jalen. Like, you just think about the clutch players and the scoring you let go from those 2 players in that franchise.
Yeah, I know. It's I'm glad you brought up the Dallas Mavericks because they had to make a decision. They made a business decision. I was okay with that. Brunson was not going to get that kind of playing time on the floor once you acquired a Luka Doncic. Yeah, I totally got it. But man, the best thing that's ever happened was what happened, and he's in New York right now. And this kid, he looks like he might get an NBA championship. Yeah. But let's go back to the Dallas Mavericks because Dallas is still trying to find their way. Okay, Jason Kidd was fired after I guess he just signed. A deal with the Mavericks. It looked like he was going to be part of the Mavericks' future, but now they have new team president Masai. How do you pronounce his last name, Dustin?
Masai Ujiri.
Ujiri. So he is the guy running the show there in Dallas, and it seems like they're giving him full, rights to make decisions and do what. I didn't see the Jason Kidd firing coming, so apparently there must have been a meeting of the minds and the philosophies just clashed. So your jury decided to fire him.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming either, but from what I read, it sounded like Jason Kidd was looking to kind of make that transition, that Brad Stevens transition from head coach to kind of front office and maybe even the president of basketball operations of a team. And when you bring a guy like Masai Ujiri in, who won a championship in Toronto and who has this pedigree, that wasn't going to happen with Jason Kidd. So I guess once that happened, there was kind of a button of heads to kind of what, Jason Kidd wanted to do going forward. And now he's out as the coach. And listen, he had some good years with Dallas, took them to one of the NBA finals. This is kind of what happens with Jason Kidd, though. And I'm not putting it on him, but you remember in Brooklyn, he was a good coach for a couple of years, but then kind of the relationship wore off and he was out of there. Milwaukee Bucks, and now here in Dallas, like, he doesn't stay in a place long. So if you're Dallas, you've got Ujiri in there now. I hate to say this, Gene, because you just got Cooper Flag. You're not necessarily tearing it all the way down because you just got a generational pick in number 1. But they're going to have to make some tough decisions, like how they build around this guy as his franchise going forward. Like a guy like Kyrie Irving, his name's already coming up now. Like, now that Kidd's gone and now that Anthony Davis is gone, is Kyrie Irving best to stay there? I know some contending teams want to look at him. So will he be there? I think it's going to have to be where he's probably gone, and it's more of a complete youth movement, and you build around and Cooper Flag, and it may take a couple of years to try to get that thing built back up.
I don't know where the Mavericks are going, Dustin.
Yeah, I don't either.
The West is getting
it is
pretty talented. You still got Oklahoma City, who next month's draft, they got a couple of first round picks, believe it or not. You talk about a team that just won the NBA championship, might get there again. Who knows? We're gonna talk about that in a minute. And then you got to look at some of the other teams that are blossoming. You got to look at the Spurs. The Spurs are going to be great for a long time. So whatever Dallas is going to do, you got to do it. You got the Joker that's going to be coming up as a free agent, unrestricted free agent in 27. And you also have the Giannis thing. The Milwaukee Bucks have made it clear that Giannis is on the trading block, so to speak. So unless the Mavericks are going to be successful in getting Giannis, I don't know what the Mavericks are going to do. There's a lot of other teams that are still better than them. So the move, the firing, I mean, it's just so much happened in the last couple of months with the Mavericks. I just see an organization that's in disarray because you sign a coach to a multi-contract, and then no one saw Ujiri coming in, and he comes in and just cleans house. So I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's interesting. And again, you have to be very careful with what you do, Gene, because you don't want to sit here and waste Cooper Flag and not have anything around him. And it's like, do you keep Kyrie? But right now, do the Mavs really need to have guys like Kyrie and Klay Thompson and those guys are good, but I think you need to go a little bit more youthful and build, but at the same time, I know in 3 or 4 years, Cooper will be one of the better players in the NBA, but that don't mean you just want to sit here and waste the first 2 or 3 years of his career and get nothing out of it. So it's going to be interesting to see the direction that they go in.
Okay, Dustin, real quick, let's go ahead and just kind of, predict what we think, what might happen in game 2 for the Knicks and the Cavaliers. I told a couple of my friends last night, the Knicks stole a home game. Okay, that's what you call that. They stole a home game. I don't know. I don't think the Knicks are going to put themselves in that position again. I think wouldn't be surprised if they just blew Cleveland out altogether. And if that happens, then we could be looking at a sweep. But what kind of defense? What do you think Cleveland's going to do to try to even just stay competitive in game 2?
Yeah, you do have that worry, Gene, that after that letdown, that it could be just a blowout in game 2, and you don't want to see that. We want to see good basketball, so we hope we're wrong. The only reason I think it will be more competitive and not blowout is because when we talk about fans of guys, I'm a fan of Donovan Mitchell. And I just think I know his competitiveness, I know his drive, and I think he will be the leader of this team and have them ready to play. What will we get from James Harden? I don't know. What will we get from Evan Mobley? I don't know, but I know Donovan Mitchell will show up. That doesn't necessarily say that I think they're going to win the game, but I think he will at least have them in this game for 3 quarters, and we'll see what happens in the 4th quarter. And again, it's not the end of the world because you're on the road, and the series, what do we say? A series doesn't start till you lose a game on your home floor.
Right.
And the Cavs are going back home, and the Cavs are very good in their building. But you are right. There are going to be some thoughts that creep into a lot of fans' minds, like could the Knicks go in there and just blow them out after what happened in game 1?
Yeah. Now, Dustin, one of the things I'm concerned about with the Knicks, because, look, even though Mike Brown is the new head coach of the New York Knicks, they still look like the Knicks, meaning that Jalen Brunson played 46 minutes last night, and he pretty much had to, okay? McBride, who comes in his relief, only played 16. Now, he did get into foul trouble, but they're going to have to do something with these minutes here. Mike Brown's going to have to deal with the problem that Tom Thibodeau has always dealt with, and that's trying to figure out, look, you got Shamet, you got McBride, you got Clarkson, so you're going to have to find a way not to burn Jalen Brunson out because, look, if you get past the Knicks, you're still going to have to play either the Spurs or the Oklahoma City Thunder. So even though it was an impressive win, it looked good. The Knicks fans got the win, but you still have to be concerned about how Mike Brown is using Jalen Brunson. He's going to have to get, look, Towns, 40 minutes he played. 13-13, a double-double is good, but I still think you're going to have to get Towns and Anunoby more involved and take less off of Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree just slightly in the Tom Thibodeau factor, because the reason it didn't work for Tom Thibodeau is because he did it for all 82 games of the regular season. Mm-hmm. With this situation, what I will say is that they, at least in the regular season, used their bench more, found time to get their guys rest. Now when it's playoff time, it's go time. So if you got to play 40 minutes, you play 40 minutes. You play 45 minutes, you play 45 minutes. But that doesn't work if you're worn out from doing 45 minutes a game, all 82 games. So I think they've got enough gas in the tank, and I think they've spread their minutes out more. Landry Shamit's been a nice little thing off the – Gene, he only had 9 points last night, but he was a plus 25 and 17 minutes off the bench. So he was nice. Mitchell Robinson comes in and gives Karl Anthony Towns a little break on the defensive end. Jose Alvarado's a pest. So I think they got enough guys to kind of give them some minutes and kind of and do that. And again, if you get this game tomorrow night in game 2 and go up in 2-0, then maybe you don't have to feel the pressure in game 3 to play somebody 48 minutes because you've already got that 2-0 lead. So I think they're in a good spot. I just truly hope the Cavs come back out and show some competitive fire tomorrow night and make this game close.
All right. I believe we're at halftime, right, of game 2 Spurs.
We are at halftime, 62-51 OKC. So OKC trying to tie this series up. Victor Wembanyama, Gene, a quiet first half, 15 minutes, 7 points, only took 4 field goal attempts, 5 rebounds. And meanwhile, SGA with 15 points in 7 minutes. So far, SGA getting the best of this game too, and the Thunder are up 11 at halftime.
I want to go back to game 1 of this series, which was one of the most spectacular NBA playoff games I've ever seen. Spurs win 122-115 in double overtime. They lead this series. And like you say, hey, playoff series don't start until you win on the other team's court. Well, they have done that.
Yes, they have.
And it looks like here in game 2 that the Thunder are being a little bit more aggressive and taking more shots in the paint. But going back to the other night, man, where now the minutes were a little bit inflated because of the double OT. But, man, Victor Wembanyama and Dustin, I will forever eat the dust and the dirt.
Please do.
I will for underestimating this guy who is just one of the most incredible basketball players. Look, I had a chance to see him play in person. The guy is just unfreaking believable. I mean, he's just freaking. He's in the way. He's just not a big man. He is a man that can do things that have you in awe. And 41 points, 24 rebounds. Dustin, we haven't seen those numbers since the Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Kareem days. I don't even know if Kareem had those kind of days, but Wilt Chamberlain had those on a regular basis. So, it looks. I mean, what are they going to do about this guy? What are they going to do about Wemby? Yeah,
you said Chamberlain. You said Kareem. I'll throw in. I'm thinking back to my days. I hadn't seen really a 40-20 game in the playoffs since a guy like Shaquille O'Neal with the Lakers. Guys like that. So it's unbelievable. And I'll use this word that everybody's used, so it's not just me saying it. When you say he's not just a tall guy, he's an alien. He is an alien, Gene. We haven't seen this. To see this length, I remember covering the Charlotte Bobcats back in the day with Bismack Biyombo, and the reason I bring that up is because he's on the Spurs roster right now. Bismack Biyombo is almost 7 feet, Gene, and I saw a picture of him standing next to Victor the other night, and it made Bismack Biyombo look like he was 5 feet tall. Yes. It was truly unbelievable. We haven't seen this. A guy with that size can handle the ball, can shoot it from anywhere, can block shots. Gene, I mean, the weight, and we've seen shot blockers, but the way he alters almost every shot, regardless of where it's at, is truly unbelievable. And 41-24 is a statement right out the gate. And listen, if you're the Spurs, if you're the Thunder, like, Gene, this isn't just like, game 1, the Spurs taking it. Let's not forget they dominated OKC in the regular season. So, this is a pattern. And it's like, man, is this just the one team that the Thunder have a terrible matchup on? And we've seen they're up by 11 tonight and they're trying to answer the series, so we're not going to just write it off yet. But if you're the Thunder, like you said, you've got to go to the drawing board and figure out what you can do, because obviously this is not a good matchup. And the first thing I look at, Gene, and I'm not saying it's fair to this guy because Victor Wembanyama, we just said, is an alien, but there's no way the Thunder are going to win this series, even if SGA is MVP SGA. They're not going to win this series if Chet Holmgren doesn't figure out a way to match the physicality of Victor Wembanyama. And maybe it's not fair because Chet's not, that same size or whatever, but Chet is one of the superstars in the league. And you got to take on that challenge. And I heard this from Kenyon Martin on a podcast today. Like, you got to be a big boy and step up and take on this challenge. Is it going to be hard? Yes. But you've got to mask that physicality. He had 8 points and 8 rebounds on 2 of 7 shooting in 41 minutes of game 1. If you're getting 8 points in 41 minutes from Chet Holmgren, I'm telling you right now, I don't care how good SGA is, the Thunder are not going to win this series.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem. I tell you what, and yeah, I agree. Chet Holmgren has to do something. It seems right now the only answer for Wemby seems to be Caruso. I mean, here's a guy that goes out there and plays like he's 7
He does.
foot
He
tall.
does.
And Wemby doesn't put the ball down below his waist often. But one thing I can say is that Caruso, man, this guy plays big. And he's already, Wemby's got a couple of fouls in this game, only 2 fouls, I think. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. 7 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks. I mean, he's on his way to a super duper game. Yeah. But they're really going to have to do something. I thought, the Minnesota Timberwolves didn't give anybody anything to work with. You thought that maybe Miles Reed, you thought Julius Randle, somebody would put bodies on Wemby because, that's the only negative thing you can say about him is that he's really small. I mean, he's big and tall, but he doesn't have a lot of weight. Julius Randle doesn't play any damn defense, so you should have known that wasn't going to work, right? So there was nobody to get in Wemby's way. So you got Hartenstein is a big guy. I think you can you have to put some bodies on him. You have to make Victor tired. And right now, Victor is just seems to have his way. And if that tends to be the case here, the Spurs are going to go to the NBA Finals. Yeah. And let me tell you, once they get a taste of that, Dustin, they're going to be in the NBA Finals for a long time to come.
Yeah, they're in the same boat as Oklahoma City. Once this thing gets rolling, they're going to be around for a long time. And and I'm looking at you. You mentioned Hartenstein, and I guess this was an adjustment by OKC to try to go small. And Caruso had a big game, but Hartenstein only played 12 minutes, Gene. So it's like they tried to go small, and see what they could do with Victor, and it didn't work. Here's another thing I'm going to call out. Jalen Williams is back for the Thunder, which is a very good sign. He had 26 points, so he scored a lot, but he was only 11 of 25 shooting. On the flip side, and I'm not saying this is more impressive than Victor's line because 41 and 24 is insane. But when I'm looking at Dylan Harper, Gene, and I'm looking at 24 points, and I'm looking at 11 rebounds, and I'm looking at 6 assists, and I'm looking at 7 steals. Listen to that line, 24, 11, 6, and 7 from a rookie who looks like he outplayed Jalen Williams. If that happens, again, these are all recipes for disaster for Oklahoma City. And again, it's one game, so things can even out. And I fully expect Oklahoma City. I think this will be a 7-game series. I'll just go ahead and say that. But at the same time, Oklahoma City, I know they got the championship experience, but they're going to have to figure out what adjustments they're going to make because, again, and I know it's regular season and it's different, but this has happened about 4 or 5 times now over the course of the season where it seems like San Antonio's got his number. So this is very intriguing to watch to see if the defending champion knows how to make these adjustments to get right back in this series.
Well, one of the adjustments that I see right away is that, and I don't know what Dagenhart didn't like about game 1 other than they lost it, right? But look, he's already played 11 players. So this is pretty incredible. I mean, he's deep into his bench right now.
Yeah.
But I don't see how he has made a change in how he plays Victor. Now, Victor hasn't, Victor's played 15 minutes and Castle was the one that's really going off. And you had to know that Mitch Johnson was going to counter with, okay, let's get somebody else going because we know they're coming for Wemby, right? And it seemed like that plan is working. So I don't know. I expect Wemby in the second half to get these numbers. And I don't know who of these 11 guys. We know Shea's not going to play Wemby. We know Jay Will is not going to play.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's still to be determined how they're going to stop Victor Wembanyama.
Now, what I will say is I've been kind of hard on the Thunder, even though this has just been one game. Like I'm making it. I'm sure Thunder fans are hating on me, going, "Man, you're really jumping to all these conclusions after one game. We're the defending champs. We know what to do." And one thing I will say is we talked about all that, Gene, the 41-24, the huge line from Dylan Harper. It still took overtime to win that game. So let's not act like the Thunder weren't right there, even with Victor having a monster game. So I don't want the Thunder fans to think I'm just completely writing them off. And one thing I'll say, Gene, that cannot happen for the Spurs if I'm going to be hard on them, and I'm looking at the box score for the first half. I don't care if they're putting all 13 guys on their bench on Victor Wembanyama. He should never have a half where he only has 4 shot attempts. That cannot happen. And so, like you said, I expect this second half that he's going to come out and be super aggressive, and we'll see if they get back in the game. But I think that is the game plan for Oklahoma City. We're going to let anybody else beat us but Victor Wembanyama. We don't think Dylan Harper can go out there and put that lineup again. You know, Castle's got 16, but can that sustain? We're going to make, just like I said with Jalen Brunson, if you're the Thunder, you're going to make anybody beat you but Victor. And so far in this first half,
I think that's the only game plan they can go with, Dustin, because we saw it way back in the days of Michael Jordan. You know, when Michael Jordan used to put up 60 points against the Cavaliers and the Celtics, it did not equate to a win. So you really have to be careful with this, because while you're letting Victor have his way, you can't let him get that ball out, because he's a good passer too. You know,
he is.
So you really gonna have to force him to take shots. If he scores 40 or 50, he does. But one of the other changes I have seen is that they are being aggressive. They are taking those shots in the paint.
Yes,
because they have that jump shots is not going to get it done. They forced Oklahoma City to shoot jump shots, and those shots didn't fall when they needed to fall in game 1. So, Dustin, we should just kind of just sit back and watch the second half and see how it's going to go. But look, I still got the Knicks and the Thunder.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to put you on the spot and say, who do you have winning these series? But your normal prediction's already still out there. Thunder.
Well, I'm going to tell you why, though, because, look, the Spurs, I just don't think the Spurs are ready right now. I mean, I think, look, even if they got past the Thunder, I think the Knicks are going to win the NBA championship. I just think that's going to happen. I just think the Knicks, look, Mike Brown is under, like, a lot of pressure. They didn't bring Mike Brown in to just win the Eastern Conference. They brought Mike Brown in to win the NBA championship. The Knicks have always felt they had a championship team. This might be their year, and I don't think Wemby and the rest of that team is ready just yet. I think Oklahoma in a 7-game series, I'm going to take the Thunder.
I think the Knicks are going to the NBA Finals. Now, whether they have enough for one of these Western Conference teams, I just don't know about that. I think these two have a little bit above everyone else. I'll tell you what, I hate to really go against the NBA champs, but I just think, and you're right, we had this conversation on a previous show. For an NBA team, normally you don't just come in here year 1 in the playoffs and go straight to the finals. You got to take your lumps, and that's where the Spurs are at. Like, this is year 1 of this thing. Like, are they going to go straight to the finals, or are they going to take their lumps and then be ready to go year 2, kind of like the Thunder did a couple of years ago, the Knicks did last year? But I'm going to tell you what, I think Victor is going to put on something special in this series. I know he had a good first half, but I think he's going to put on some stuff that just has us shaking our head. And I'm going to take the Spurs to go to the finals against the New York Knicks.
All right. Hey,
7-game series, though.
It's going to be pretty exciting then. So I'll tell you what, look, we're going to go ahead and get off here and let everyone else watch the game. We're going to watch the second half of this game. And Dustin, we'll come back here as we get a little bit deep into the second round. Not the second round, but as we get into the conference finals, we'll come back and see where our predictions stand. So, hey, man, thanks for coming on tonight.
Absolutely, man. Let's go watch some basketball.
Just watch some basketball. All right, folks, we'll see you.